Well, speaking of a crazy time.
Yes, sir.
You know, we've been bombarded the last couple of years with all this racial tensions.
There's racial tension? Where?
Well,
I hadn't heard.
Right. Well, since this Obama administration came into power,
yes,
he was supposed to be the great savior and, you know, calm the racial tensions in this country, but strangely enough, he's just made it worse.
You're saying he hasn't done that?
No, he has not.
Oh, wow. Hadn't noticed.
Yeah. So anyway, you know, everybody's got an issue these days. Well, according to a lawsuit, a school won't punish a student for calling his classmate the N-word over and over again.
Okay.
The N-word.
You know, I don't really like that. Could you say the letter after M from now on? Could you call it the letter after M word?
Right.
That's that N word. That has a little too much. It's a little too dicey for me.
Sure. A mom is suing her school district after she says they refuse to stop a white bully from calling her black son the worst name in the book.
Wow. The
worst name in the book.
She called him Barack?
He called him cunt.
Barack?
The worst name.
Worst name in the book.
Yeah.
What other names are in that book?
I don't know.
Where do I buy that book?
I'd like to see the book of the worst names.
I would too.
That one would be on the last page of the book because it's the worst.
Yeah. And finally,
to top the list of the worst names,
nigger.
Right. Terrible.
Awful. I mean, N-word.
Right.
Didn't mean to say that.
A Michigan mom claims her black son's middle school is letting a white student call him nigger nonstop.
Nonstop?
Yeah.
So right now, if I called that kid, all I would hear is nigger, nigger, nigger,
yeah,
nigger,
nonstop.
Nigger, nigger. Is that what I would hear?
I had the same vision in my head when I read that.
Nonstop. Okay.
That's the case. Sumayah, Sumayyaah.
Oh my goodness.
Sumayah.
Guilty.
Waiver laid out in a federal civil lawsuit last week against the Grand Rapids Public Schools.
Federal lawsuit.
That's what it says. No, it's a federal civil lawsuit.
Wow. So in other words, she wants paid.
Right.
Yeah. No jail time, just payment.
Exactly, because that money will help the pain and anguish go away.
Yeah. Yeah. She's probably having PTSD.
Right.
NTSD.
Ever since last September, Waiver said her 8th grade son has become a verbal punching bag.
Really?
A verbal punching bag.
Mm-hmm.
Take this. I wish you still had your sound clip. Exactly. Is this more of a case that we have become desensitized to racial issues where the use of the N-word is somehow different than when you're talking about what's happening between kids?
Huh?
Wait
a minute. Wait, hold on. You want to reread it. She thinks that in 2016, there's not enough sensitivity about the N-word.
Right.
Where does she live? What planet?
She lives in Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids, what, Mars? Does she have a TV?
Right.
Does she see the news? Every other goddamn story is a racial story. Holy smokes.
Yep.
All right.
Waiver's attorney, Nakisha Cheney.
White woman?
I couldn't tell you.
Nakisha, I got to keep that name handy.
It doesn't seem to strike us in the same way as a boy calling a girl a cunt every day in school.
Okay. Is that the legal term?
Well, that's the word she used, actually.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to strike us in the same way as a boy calling a girl a cunt every day in school.
How does that strike you?
Well, I thought that was the worst name in the book.
Well,
I guess that depends on who you ask.
If you were in the shopping mall,
yes,
and you heard a guy say, "Would you shut up, you cunt?" Would you be like, "Hold it right there, pal"?
No, first of all, I would gasp in horror. I would go,
"How dare you!"
Terrible! You can't use that language here, sir.
Let me pull out my book and see where that word fits.
That's next to the last page. You might as well have called her a nigger.
Oh, hey! Take it easy with the language.
Right.
Oh, words hurt, for God's sakes, Neeley.
That one was on the next to the last page.
Jeez, oh man, that's 2 chapters past twat.
Right.
Oh my God.
Exactly. That would never be tolerated. Well, maybe cunt is on the last page.
Yeah, well, you know
maybe
what?
nigger is on the next to the last page.
Maybe every one of these words should be fine, and you shouldn't teach your kid to be such a soft puss.
Yeah.
You know, enough.
On October 3rd, 2015, Waver mailed the special ed teacher at Sherwood Park Middle School to report that the offending student continued to call her son a nigger.
Hey!
I'm just reading the story.
I'm going to have to step away from you in this story.
Right.
Jeez, oh man. What?
The mother then wrote the school's special education supervisor to say that when her son would try to defend himself against his Caucasian classmate,
Okay.
he was the only one reprimanded. He will get a level, he will get a level drop for yelling at the student to stop. But something needs to be done about being called a nigger daily.
God damn it, Nathan, that is fucking funny.
Right.
Holy smokes. Okay. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
White person.
That just took me completely out of it.
Right.
All right. So this retarded kid got in trouble for yelling.
Back at the white kid for saying, "Stop it! Quit calling me names."
So the white retard called the black retard a nigger.
Yes.
And the black retard told the white retard to stop.
Correct.
And only the black retard got in trouble.
Correct.
Racism!
It is.
I agree with the mom here. What's her name? Suliana or something?
No, her name is, what is her name? Sumaya.
Sumaya, yeah. She's right on this.
Mm-hmm. The mother then wrote okay. Despite the mother's pleas with the teacher who ran the complaint up the school's flagpole, see her dropping her kid off in the minivan every day. Look at the top of that flagpole. There's my complaint. It's blowing in the wind up there.
Exactly. I'm going to assume this teacher's a white chick, of course.
I can't say. I don't know the answer, but I'm thinking,
0 chance it's a black woman.
Yeah. The teacher ran the complaint up the school's flagpole.
Wow.
It's a paper
waving at the top.
Waving at the top of the flagpole.
Well, I don't know about that complaint.
What is that paper? Hey, isn't that the complaint I sent the other day?
Well, between that and then that other teacher that was training the kids, from the other story, the flag was clearly at fucking half mast.
Right.
Jeez.
Okay. Despite the mother's pleas with the teacher who ran the complaint up the school's flagpole, administrators did not intervene to stop the conduct.
Can't you just see fucking a kid out there putting like 2 clips on the edge of that paper and then
All the way to the top.
I think up at the top, right underneath it being the American flag.
Yes.
Okay.
On November 12th, the boy's mother was told by the special educator supervisor, Sarah Larkin,
white woman,
that if this is a continuing issue, they should come to the table and come up with some type of plan to address the racial slangs.
Who should?
I think the mother and the teacher and everybody needs to come together at the table.
Why does the mother have to be involved in this? Doesn't the school need to administrate their own fucking policy?
Well, let me reread this. On November 12th, the boy's mother was told by special education supervisor Sarah Larkin that if this is a continuing issue, they should come to the table and come up with some type of plan to address the racial slangs.
Okay, now, which boy? Is it the white kid?
I'm thinking that the teacher is saying that the mother of the black kid and the mother and the mother of the black kid and the black kid and the mother of the white kid and the white kid and the teacher
need to work it out.
Need to sit down together and discuss this issue.
Okay. All right.
That's kind of how I'm reading that.
And she said, "Girl, I'm not going there.
I'm not sitting at the same table as them crackers."
Yeah. I'm sitting at the front of this, classroom.
6 weeks went by, and according to the lawsuit, the mother was given an apology that it has taken so long and assured that a team would be assembled to address her concerns.
Wow, they need a team.
A team.
Yeah, a team to handle a word.
Right.
Very good.
They didn't, and so she sued.
Okay. I'm actually okay with that.
All right.
You're not good with that?
Well, if the school said that they were going to do something and address it in a certain way and then they never did do it,
yeah,
I guess she needs to take some other action.
Yeah, I'm okay with that part.
The lawsuit claims the administration appeared to have let the racial ridicule drag on while her son continues to be called a nigger and other slurs by his classmate. Moreover, her son has suffered retaliation after she spoke up for him, including being suspended, falsely accused of misconduct, and stripped of behavioral points.
You think this kid knows the difference between a nigger and a carrot? And he is retarded.
Well, you're assuming that.
Oh, yes, I am. I'm definitely assuming that.
Yeah. Again, I don't know.
Okay.
The white student, the lawsuit claims, continues to call the boy the nigger without restraint and has not been subjected to the same severity of punishment which he suffered for a lesser misconduct.
All right, now here's my question. Is this going on in class or is this going on like in the hallway or something?
Well, it doesn't say.
Because I can't fathom, and maybe I'm stupid here, I cannot fathom that any teacher, white, black, green, red, blue, would let a student call another student a nigger and let that student stay in their class.
Right.
I can't fathom that that's what's going on here. Can you? That's what it sounds like they're trying to say.
The way that this is framed, it sounds as if that's what's happening.
But I have to think that they're out in the hallway and the kid is just fucking busting his balls.
Sure.
Right?
Again, they don't really go into detail as to where and how and when this is taking place.
Right. Okay.
A Grand Rapids
kid right there?
What? I don't have pictures.
No, on the look at that picture Nathan's got. Look at his shirt.
I see that.
Maybe that's the kid.
That's true too.
White.
Yeah.
He clearly doesn't mind using the N-word.
Yeah, he's happy he's not a nigger. A Grand Rapids public school spokesman said in a statement that their lawyers are ready to review the lawsuit, but we are not commenting on pending litigation at this time.
So we're dodging the answer.
The months and months of the alleged verbal abuse created what the lawsuit called a hostile racial environment.
Brother.
And compelled the boy's mother to seek therapy to help him cope with the situation.
Was the ass grabber guy in the same therapist's
I think
office?
they might have been in the group circle.
Jeez.
How would something like this be allowed to persist for so long? Nikisha Cheney said.
Nikisha, white woman?
Nikisha Cheney.
White woman, obviously.
Yeah, she was the lawyer.
Okay.
This is just a failure to appreciate the gravity of the situation. The fact is, the 14-year-old boy who is referred to by his initials is forced to be slandered daily, and nobody has been willing to offer a lifeline.
Mm-hmm.
On top of the daily indignity of being called this name on a frequent basis, there's also concern he's been disciplined, she said.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher and the administration apparently tried sitting down with both boys to have a conversation, but beyond that, we don't know what they did, and the conduct persisted.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything to remedy it, Cheney said.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
According to the school officials, the class where the hate speak allegedly happened is made up of some special needs kids.
Right.
But that is something that the mother's attorney says is irrelevant.
Really? Maybe. Here's my thing. I don't see the mom stepping up either. If my kid was being harassed like this, better bet I probably would have pulled the kid out.
Sure.
I'd have been homeschooling until this was solved, or just not send him to school.
Right.
You know, she's not concerned enough to actually pull the kid out of the class. She's still sending the kid to be, if this kid is being abused or bullied or whatever term she's using, she's still sending the kid every fucking day.
True.
So what kind of fucking mom is she?
Right.
Pathetic.
Regardless if it's a special ed class, the district has duty to investigate the situation, Cheney said, stressing that the lawsuit is a way to get the school to stop stonewalling. Mm-hmm. We want to have a firmer understanding of what the administration was and wasn't doing.
Right.
And the solution isn't for the student to be transferred to another school. Not every parent has the capacity or the ability to just pull their child out and provide for him with the kind of education he needs. So there's the answer of what you just said.
Right.
Why should he have to move as a result of what the school is or isn't doing? It's not on him. The school district has the obligation to correct this.
He doesn't have to. What I'm saying is, what kind of fucking parent would send their kid into a fucking hostile environment knowing that it's a hostile environment?
Well,
I'm not saying that she legally has to.
No. That's not what it just said. It said, not every parent has the capacity or the ability to just pull their child out.
Stop it. Your kid is your first priority.
Right.
You fucking find a way to do it. You find friends, you find family, you find whatever.
Right.
To fucking stop your kid from being fucking abused.
Right.
That's fucking ridiculous. That's like saying, well, my kid, if this kid was being raped every day by the janitor, she wouldn't continue to send the kid to that school.
Sure.
And if she did, everybody under the sun would look at her and say, what a fucking piece of shit.
Right.
But because it's words, that's not as important. That's bullshit. If she thinks that this bullying is so bad and so hurting her kid and whatever, but she's still doing it. It's the same as being raped every day.
Right.
She's literally letting her kid be fucking mentally fucked.
Sure.
Every single day. So I disagree fully with what that fucking attorney's legal speak is.
Right.
Fuck that. She's a bad parent.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
She highlighted that certain civil rights laws are also clearly being breached, and that the entire reason for the lawsuit is to compel the school to come forward with answers and intel. Mm-hmm. This is a systematic failure, she said. To paint this kind of picture is not a good picture and demands a complaint.
Right.
Sure, teachers have a hard job these days and schools are having challenging situations, but I think we need to untangle this and then figure out if we're going to tolerate a certain amount of bullying. So we're not dealing with kids who are, and I'm going to use a horrible term here, normal.
Uh-oh.
These kids obviously these kids obviously have some kind of a abnormality about them, be it physical or mental or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And the thing is that this is not a what do you want to call a typical situation. This is, I mean, who knows what this other kid, this white kid, and I'm not making excuses for him.
Right.
But this white kid could be, you know, he could be half a tard.
Yeah.
And uttering the word nigger is just, you know, one of those.
Yeah, like a Tourette's thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, you know,
Well,
maybe he doesn't even know that what he's doing is wrong. You know, he could be saying other words, you know, repeatedly.
Yeah. Well, here's my simple thought. The school should be held. I agree with the mom. The school should be held accountable on some level.
Mm-hmm.
But where is the administration of this school or the demand from the mom to just say, hey, get my kid out of the fucking class with that kid?
Right.
Just separate them. Put them in a different place. You know, that's what, you know, when we were kids and we had different, you know, we had kids that we didn't get along with and couldn't get along with. They just put you in different classes.
Right.
That's what they did. What, you can't with this? Why? Or different side of the room or something.
Sure.
You know, and the teacher has to do a better job of, you know, you drop an N-bomb, then you should be fucking kicked out of class. I don't care if you're retarded or not.
Sure.
Throw them out of class.
Right.
If that white kid that's saying nigger all the time is in the principal's office every day, the principal's gonna deal with it. Right?
You would think so.
Yeah, he'll get tired of seeing that kid. And he'll get that kid's parents to fucking get their kid in line. That's how it was in the old days.
Sure.
And that worked. But I guess now what? Now would we be censoring? Would we be somehow bullying that kid because we fucking, you know, we limited his freedom of speech or something?
Yeah, well, again, everybody is so ultra sensitive about everything.
Every goddamn thing.
Everything.
And to be clear, I'm not saying that this mom should have to send her kid to be dealing with this kind of racial bullshit. I mean, quite honestly, they should fucking throw the white kid out of the school.
Sure.
He should be expelled, and that's it. And, you know, that's the simple solution. I don't know why that's not being done, but, you know, enough with the fucking talking about it. 14-year-old kids know you can't say nigger to each other. Right?
Yeah, if you're a normal kid who understands it.
Mm-hmm. Well, even if you're not, the fucking once it gets home to the parents are going to make it so. The parents certainly get it. Where's the letter that says if your kid does it one more time, you're not coming to this kid can't be in our school anymore?
Sure.
Because he's creating a hostile environment.
Right.
But the school is dropping the ball. Look, I hope this woman wins her lawsuit, but
yeah.
But she is raising her kid to be a pussy.
Well, regardless, I agree with you that there isn't enough being done. Maybe the school administration should be more proactive, but again, we're only hearing one side of the story.
Right.
So, you know, and again, that's not making excuses for that. It's just like, so what else? What's the other side of the coin here?
Yeah. You got to wonder if there's something on the other side that's going to come up that this kid's calling him, I don't know, honky or something.
Yeah, who knows?
Honkies. There's no bad word for white guys.
Yeah, but here's the thing, you know, at least I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
Growing up,
mm-hmm.
we've never encountered these kind of problems.
No, not really.
And it's just like, why? What's the difference today?
Well, because when we encountered a bully, we took it into our own hands. We didn't wait for the teachers to solve a fucking problem.
Sure.
You know, even if dude, I was, believe it or not, I was a small kid. I was a year younger than everybody else, and I was really smaller than everybody else. And I never would take shit from anybody. And there were, for us, the thing was, I'll meet you by the back gate. There was like a back gate to the football stadium at 3:00. And that was always the fight thing. You would go and you would fight at 3:00, after school. You'd meet at the gate and you'd fucking solve your problem. And sometimes I got my ass kicked because I had a big mouth and I was a little kid. And I would run my mouth to the wrong kid and get my ass fucking beat.
Right.
But you know what? Then after that was done, generally within a day or two, you were like, you'd fucking run into that kid later and say, hey, are we done with this shit? And they'd be like, yeah. And that was it.
Yeah, it was over.
It was over. It was done with. One would beat the other one up, and that was it. Now they don't solve any problems. Now they've emboldened these kids to think that they're due respect. And they're not due respect. Nobody is due respect. That is the biggest misnomer of this world right now, that you're owed respect. You're not owed respect. You earn respect.
Correct.
We earned respect by taking it. If somebody didn't give us respect, we gave them a smack in the mouth. And then they understood they better respect us.
Right.
Now, everybody feels like they're owed it. Like you can't fucking ruffle somebody's feathers. Like you can't just fucking challenge them. And it's why everybody's so fucking weak.
Mm-hmm.
It's weakness on every level because of this spirit of entitlement. It's fucking disgusting.
Right.
It's me.
Yeah. Yeah. In the whole history of man, there's always been a pecking order established somehow.
Right.
Even in the wild.
Yeah.
When the male lion could no longer fend off the younger lions,
mm-hmm.
he left the pride.
Sure.
It's like, I'm done. All right. I can't chew the antelope anymore. I got to go.
Yeah, exactly. And dude, the worst part about this whole thing, and I know we always, it always comes down to the racial shit. And the worst part about it is, it goes to what I always say on the show and off the show. If you judge people as individuals, there is no problem with race. There's none. Me and you both have black friends. Yes?
Yes, absolutely.
I have plenty of them.
Sure.
And I don't say that like, well, yeah, they've been to my house. I mean, I've had black guys come to my house and, Kurgan's come to how many of my parties? He's always invited.
Kurgan's actually been here.
Yeah, Kurgan's a regular friend. He's a friend. And I have plenty of black friends. But you know why? Because I don't treat them as black friends. They're not my black friends.
Yeah, they're just your friends.
They're just my friends. They're individuals. And if a black guy acts like a fucking retard, then he's a fucking retard.
Exactly.
If a white guy acts like a fucking retard, guess what? He too is a fucking retard. This whole... Anytime you bring race into these issues, on whatever race, Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, doesn't matter. Anytime you bring race into this thing, you're wrong. It can be proven by one guy that does not fucking meet your dumbass stereotype. Every fucking time.
Right.
But if you judge individuals, you're never wrong. You're never wrong to say that guy's a fucking asshole.
Sure.
Brett Michaels is no less of an asshole because he's a white guy. He's an asshole. Period.
Right.
Not because he's white. He wouldn't be a worse asshole if he was black. He's just an asshole.
Sure.
And I wish to God these fucking idiots in the schools would get this shit. You would think after all these years of fucking alleged oppression or oppression, that the black community claims, you would think they would want it to be that way. You wouldn't think that they want to start judging against only, putting a white stereotype out there, assuming that white people won't do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's so stupid, isn't it?
Well, I agree, but the problem is with some
mm-hmm.
is that if they were to assimilate,
mm-hmm.
and this is what we're really talking about is assimilating.
Yeah.
That if you assimilate and everybody becomes the same, whatever, the dominant way of conducting yourself would be considered acting white.
Because what?
What do you mean, because what?
Because being behaved is considered a white thing?
It is, yes.
And it's not considered being a right thing.
No,
it's considered being a white thing.
It's considered being a white thing.
That's the dumbest shit ever.
Speaking properly, dressing properly, acting civilized, that's acting white.
That's just dumb.
I agree, but the thing is you can't speak your ebonics. You can't walk around with your pants around your ass. You can't be doing the whole shaking your head and the 3 snaps and all that without acting ignorant. So that's a black way of acting, but if you act anyway in a behaved manner, that would be considered acting white.
Maybe it's just that I don't see things that way.
Well, but that is
like those examples that you gave, the 3 snaps and the head fucking shake and the pants around your ass and all that stuff. I don't look at that shit as a black thing. I look at that thing I look at all that as a dumb thing.
Yeah, well, to you it's dumb. But well, see, again, you're referring to black people as being ignorant for acting that way.
Referring to people that, believe me, the people that we would classify as quote unquote wiggers, they're every bit as ignorant.
Correct, but why are they called wiggers?
Well, I don't. I'm just saying that they would be classified.
Yeah, but where does that name come from?
It comes from the stereotype
that white
being
people
tied to people.
Well, it's a stereotype of white people acting black.
No.
Yes.
No, it's not. I guess it is and it isn't, because it's not the whole. It goes back to my whole thing. The sentiment of that stuff being black is skewed. It's just being ignorant.
I agree, but the thing is by saying that, by using the term "you're acting ignorant," you're saying that black people act ignorant.
I'm saying that all people act ignorant. And I'm saying these traits make it ignorant.
Yes.
But that doesn't make it black.
But dominantly, it's acted out by black people.
Dominantly it is. I agree with that.
So there you go.
But I don't agree that I still don't agree that you ever create a group and say, well, everybody in that group is this, lazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a black stereotype.
Well, again, let me back up here. Without even seeing somebody driving a car, and this car was raised up, had 22-inch rims on it,
right?
Was painted some wild color like orange and green, right. and had all kinds of wacky shit on it. Like things hanging from the antenna and whatnot.
Sure, big crown in the front.
Yeah. Would you go white guy car, black guy car?
I'd go dumbass car.
Well, no.
I would. I don't. I joke about racism on the show, but I really don't think that way.
Really?
I swear to God. No bullshit on my kids' lives. I don't think that.
All right. Well, if I were to see that, I would automatically assume that's a black guy's car.
Okay. And you'd be right, probably 95% of the time.
So there you go. That's my point.
But there's that 5% that
true.
But
my point is that you can even identify cars, without even seeing who the driver is, and pretty much be right.
Right.
If I see a Buick Century, or a Buick LeSabre, or a Buick. What's the other one? It's Century, LeSabre, or
Baron. Pontiac LeBaron.
No, that's. But anyway, 9 times out of 10, old person's car.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's not a racial thing. It's you identify it just by, what do you want to call, I guess is it a stereotype or is it just by observation? Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I personally, I guess I have enough of a mixed background, I guess, as far as like my friend circle, that I just can't be bothered with it, you know, and for, you know, I just don't surround myself with fucking assholes. You know, the black friends that I have are generally educated. They're generally, you know, not trying to be street hoods.
Well, what it was, so see by even describing that,
mm-hmm.
you're more or less making the assumption that it's rare when you find.
I'm not going to say rare.
Well, let's just put it this way: it's not common. How about that?
No, what I'm saying is the people that I associate with, I would not associate with those types of people.
Those types,
white or black.
I know what you're saying. I'm just busting your balls a little bit.
No, I know, but I wouldn't. You know, I absolutely would not. Fucking white guys as well. If there's some fucking white dude, fucking, you know, with chains around his neck and yo, and I'm like, get the fuck out of my face.
Sure.
I don't have time for you.
You say, get out of my face, wigger.
Yeah.